All right, good afternoon, guys. Here for the afternoon session. Give you a few minutes for students to get on here. This will be the afternoon session for our lesson for today. So, we're still talking about the digestive system, so we'll go over that and answer any questions that you may have regarding the digestive systems. Looks like I got one person so far. If you want to say hello or good afternoon. All right, a couple people in here. Okay, Chris. Okay, hi, Chris. How are you? Good afternoon. Hopefully you're enjoying the day. Hopefully you're doing your work and are getting outside as well. All right. Any questions you might have, Chris, about the project? What when it's due or what's due? Looks like a couple more people are joining in. All right, good. I'm good. How about you? Hopefully you're well as well. Thank you for asking. I'm doing good. Beautiful day here. Any questions that you may have about the project due on Friday? Remember, there's no school Friday, and your project will be due Friday on the digestive system, your travel brochure. It looks like you wrote something. Yeah, it's due Friday. Okay. All right, due Friday, even though a lot of us teachers probably won't be checking emails. Okay. Some of us might be. We probably won't be. There's probably not be a lot of response back. We do not have school Friday because of the holiday. Okay. All right. So you have a couple days to get it in your travel brochure on how food travels throughout the body. All right. I am going to go over those parts today. Wait for a few more students to come on here. All right. Any questions you may have about the body system on the digestive system? Any questions of any of the organs and how they work or their functions? I will be going over that as well today. No? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. If you have any questions while those people that are in here, you can answer, okay, or you can ask on the sidebar as I keep checking it momentarily. So I'm going to get started on the digestive system and what that is and what it does. So just as a review, from Monday into the excretory system and how they work together with the digestive system. All right, so this prepares food for the use of all body cells is what the digestive system does. All right, so digestion basically is a chemical breakdown of complex biomolecules into component parts, such as lipids to fatty acids, proteins to amino acids, and carbohydrates into simple sugars. Okay, so those are some things on how it basically digestion is the breakdown of these molecules and these components. All right. Now, there's three main functions to the digestive systems. All right. One, it produces various chemicals for the breakdown of food. So, breakdown of food is one. It filters out harmful substances is another, and it gets rid of solid wastes. Okay, so that is those are the three. So it breaks down chemicals and breaks down food and chemicals in the food. It also filters out harmful substances and it gets rid of solid waste. Okay, all right. Um, moving on. All right. Digestion, it can be broken down into two types of digestion, mechanical and chemical digestion. What starts out mechanically is the change of the physical form of food. So you eat an apple, obviously it doesn't look like an apple when you consume it, so you have to cut and tear and chew and grind and mash and mix. So they call that mechanical digestion, and you use that with your teeth to help break those particles apart. Okay? All right, so that's mechanical digestion. The chemical part is the chemical composition of the food with the aid of the digestive enzymes. So proteins, lipids, carbohydrates, they help with the chemical breakdown of that process. So digestive enzymes are special proteins that help break up large molecules of food into very tiny molecules that can be absorbed and used by the cells in the form of nutrition. Now, there's some phases of digestion here. So, a couple of phases of digestion. The first phase we call is ingestion. You're actually taking that food in. Okay. Then there's the movement of the food is the next phase. So as you're chewing and you're cutting that food, it is the movement of it. All right, and that's also going down the esophagus, which I'll get into next. Then you absorb the food, okay, or digest some of the food into the stomach, and then it absorbs it further on into other areas like the small intestines and large intestines. Then it goes into further digestion as of waste. Okay, all right. So those are some of the phases of digestion there. All right, any other questions? Okay, looks like we got somebody else on here. Okay, while I'm talking. So are we making a map? Okay, like a park map. Yeah, if you want to include that, you can show how that works with the digestive system there, Val. Okay. Like mapping it out, like it's like I know it's stated on there, map a journey or diagram of the digestive system. So yeah, just draw a picture of it. It doesn't have to be not looking at artwork or anything like that. So you can include that with your travel brochure showing the parts and the graphs. You can go online and find a lot of research. You just Google digestive system. You'll probably get a plethora of different pictures that'll show up. So yeah, some of the ones that we've been studying, you could use those. Okay, especially with the esophagus, the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, large intestine. Those are some of the most important ones there. Okay, so yeah, you can include the map in your travel brochure. Okay, that'll make it look a little bit neater that you have followed the directions of the project. Okay, so if you forget it, that's okay, but makes it'll probably get you a little better grade that way. So make sure you're just kind of following some of the highlights there to that. So remember, you're making a travel brochure. You're explaining how food goes through each one of these places and what it does in that place. So be creative with it as well too. Okay. All right. Good job, Val. All right. If you have any more questions, you could continue asking. I'm just going to continue with some of the stuff I have on some of the things on the digestive system that we went over. The digestive system is the digestive tract, I should say, is a long muscular tube with many sections and areas. So those sections are the stomach, the small intestines, large intestines, esophagus, and so on. So digestion begins in the mouth and it ends in the rectum or the anus where food is excreted. Okay. All right. Um, the next part would be the parts of the digestive tract. Some of the main parts that we're going to talk about are the mouth. Okay, we call it the area behind the throat is called the pharynx. Okay, and then the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestines, and the large intestines. So those are some of the digestive tract there. Now, the next part are called accessory parts. These are organs that help aid in digestion. These are not the main parts of the digestive tract. They kind of help work together. Okay. All right. So some of these ones in the digestive tract are your teeth, your tongue, your salivary glands, your liver, your gallbladder, and your pancreas. These are some of the ones that we'll talk about as accessory organs. Excuse me. Okay. Any other questions so far as I continue on here? All right, good. All right, moving on. With the mouth, we're talking about the mouth right now. As it functions, food enters in the mouth or the oral cavity, and tasting would be considered one for that area there. Okay, so your taste buds is helpful in the mouth. Mechanical breakdown of food also happens in that area. So secretion of saliva glands or salivary amylase. That's the enzymes that help aid that part. Okay, all right. Continuing on. Structures in the mouth that aid digestion, like I said, are the teeth. They help cut, tear, crush, and grind food. The saliva glands, they produce and secrete saliva into the area, so they help break down, which usually the saliva moistens the food and contains enzymes like the salivary amylase, which is an enzyme that begins with digestion of starch into polysaccharides, other chemicals in the with the breakdown of food. Okay. Now, your tongue is also important. It helps mix and roll food into tiny mashed up bits. And those little mashed up bits are called bolus, the scientific name for it. So the tongue pushes those bolus, those pieces of small food, towards the pharynx, the back part of your throat, and then into the esophagus when you swallow. Okay. So the tongue is also an important part there. It aids in the digestion process. So when you're swallowing is a coordinated activity of the tongue, okay, and soft palate and the pharynx and esophagus because there's muscles that kind of help push the food down. So food is pushed into the pharynx by the tongue, which is voluntary, okay? And the tongue blocks, obviously, it blocks the mouth. So that helps with the soft palate closes off the nose as well for breathing. All right, so your larynx, your Adam's apple rises, so the epiglottis in the back of your throat, it's a flap of tissue, can open and close the trachea. That's your windpipe, which we'll study when we do the what system is that? Oh, the respiratory system. So that'll be upcoming, the respiratory system. So the trachea is one, it's for that, so your windpipe. But the epiglottis is a flap of tissue. The larynx is your Adam's apple, this area right here, and the pharynx is the back of your throat behind the tongue. Okay, so they kind of help. All these parts help aid for swallowing. Okay. All right, the esophagus, like I was saying, just talking about, is a straight muscular tube about 10 inches long, okay, from your throat to your chest to your stomach, which connects the mouth with your stomach. So food takes about 48 seconds to pass through it to the stomach. And its walls contain smooth muscles that contract in waving motions, and they call that peristalsis is the scientific term for that. So peristalsis propels food and liquid slowly down the esophagus into the stomach, okay? Any questions so far of the few people that are on here? Okay, I'm just going back for checking while I'm talking about some things here. Okay, so like I said, if you have any questions, it's the time to ask. Now the stomach. The stomach is a J-shaped muscular sac. It has inner folds of what they call rugae that increases the surface area of the stomach. It churns and grinds together the bolus into smaller pieces. And food is mixed with gastric juices or hydrochloric acid and enzymes secreted by the stomach walls. So hydrochloric acid, HCl, helps break down food and kills bacteria that came along with the food. Okay, so remember that the food is mixed with gastric juices, and those gastric juices, like I said, are hydrochloric acid and enzymes, and they help break that food down, the solid pieces, and they kind of mix and churn together. And the hydrochloric acid breaks down the food and kills the bacteria, the bad bacteria that came in, so it kind of filters some of that out, okay, for the stomach. All right. There's some other major enzymes in the stomach, one called pepsin, like the word Pepsi with the letter N at the end of it. It converts proteins into peptides into the presence of HCl. So there's the mucus, lubricates food and protects the gastric lining from the strong digestive juices, and it converts the bolus into a liquid called chyme, C-H-Y-M-E. Chyme is a substance. It's like a watery substance, a liquid substance. After about 4 hours of mechanical and chemical digestion, that food is actually processed into more of a liquid-based substance. So chyme passes on to the next organ, which will be the small intestine. After it leaves the stomach, the chyme gets pushed to that area. Okay. So going on to the next area, the small intestines. Well, as I've stated in some of the other PowerPoints here, the small intestines is actually longer or larger than the large intestines, meaning longer, I should say. It's 20 feet in length. So it's a coiled tube beneath the stomach. Okay, it's actually a lot thinner, so it's smaller in diameter. So that's how it gets the name small intestine. But it's very long and it's all wrapped around the stomach. It has three main parts. Okay, but you just got to know the first part, the upper part of the small intestine. All right, is about 10 inches and it's connected to the stomach. And this is where the digestive juices from the pancreas and liver combine with chyme, making it thin and watery. All right. And then the jejunum, which is about 8 feet in length, food gets pushed in there. The watery substances go to that area, and then to the ileum, which is about 12 feet in length. You don't have to know those two other words, but the duodenum is the main important part that's closest connected to the stomach, and it makes that chyme into more of thinner, watery-like substances. So it's kind of flattening out. All right, that's in the small intestines. All right, the small intestines is also the site of the greatest amount of digestion and absorption. So it takes a while in this area for it to happen. So it takes about 4 to 8 hours to complete this journey in the small intestines. So there's an area of the inner wall called the mucosa that secretes several enzymes in the small intestines that act as food. Digested nutrients are absorbed through the intestinal walls, and that's how they are absorbed, the materials, before they're further changed into a storage to the next part. Okay, so that's into the small intestines. But the small intestines, before it goes into the large intestines, has some folded inner walls or finger-like projections called villi, or villus for plural. All right, each villi have tiny projections called microvilli that absorbs digested food. So the villi or the microvilli increases the surface area of the small intestines for greater absorption. So remember, peristalsis is the pushing and contraction of those muscles that move the undigested food to the large intestines. So that's where they will go to the large intestines. So any other questions that we may have? Only a couple people are in here at this moment. Okay. All right. Continuing on, as I'll continue on with the session here. Now, the movement of the small intestines is the mixing of that would be considered segmental contraction that occurs in the small intestines, and secretion or lubricant liquefies and digests under the secretion area. Digestion means mechanical or chemical, and absorption is movement from the tract into circulation. All right, and then elimination of the waste products are removed from the body. Okay, so those are just the steps there. All right, food as it leaves the small intestines is now in this liquid-like substance. Okay, after it came through the chyme and it's kind of got pushed into the duodenum and the other areas of the small intestines. And now it enters the large intestines. It's also known as the colon. All right, how the large intestine gets its name, it's larger in diameter, it's a lot thicker, but still it's a lot shorter in size than the small intestines. It's only about 5 feet long compared to the small intestines being about 20 feet long. Now, water is absorbed from the undigested food, making the waste harder until it becomes a solid. So waste stays for about 10 to 12 hours in the large intestine. All right. Now, for the large intestine, waste is pushed into an expanded portion called the rectum, or the site of the large intestine. So solid waste stays in the rectum until it is excreted through the anus as feces. So that's where it's going to end up going. And then the appendix is an area to the right side of the large intestines, and that also helps aids in the removal of the waste there too. Now, the next part I'm going to go over are some of the accessory organs. Okay, now accessory organs are ones that help the digestion process. They're not the main functions of the digestive system. So what they do is they produce or store enzymes that helps in digestion. So the first one is liver. Okay, is the largest gland of the body. Okay, all right, the liver is the largest gland of the body. It stores vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. All right, and it stores sugar and glycogen as well. All right, and it produces bile, which is a watery greenish substance, and it secretes bile to the gallbladder through the cystic duct. Okay, so those are some areas for that where it's kind of getting pushed and sifted through. Okay, all right, so the liver is one of them. Then it gets pushed into the gallbladder, this bile, where it's the bile is actually stored in between meals in the gallbladder, and it secretes bile to the duodenum through the bile duct during mealtime. All right, so the bile contains bile salts, pigments, cholesterol, phospholipids. All right, and a bile is an emulsifier, not an enzyme. What an emulsifier is, it means it dissolves fat into the watery contents of the intestine. You don't have to know that big word, emulsifier, but that's what it is. But look over bile. It's produced from the liver, but now it's stored into the gallbladder. Okay. All right, and your last accessory organ that helps with digestion is the pancreas. Now, the pancreas produces a juice that contains enzymes such as amylase and insulin. Those are enzymes to break down carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and it secretes the juice into the duodenum through that duct. Okay? All right, just as a review of the main functions or the main parts of the path of digestion, digestion begins in the mouth. It's pushed to the pharynx, the back part of the throat, from after chewing, mechanically digestion and cutting and tearing of the food, mixed with those enzymes in your saliva, where it becomes chemical. It's pushed to the back of your throat. It travels down the esophagus, all right, which uses peristalsis, the muscle contractions, pushing that food straight down. It takes about 4 to 8 seconds for food to fall in the next area called the stomach, which is the J-shaped organ. All right, and that's where it mixes with chyme in the stomach, and that's where the solid food is mixed with other gastric juices and hydrochloric acid, and it gets rid of the bad bacteria. All right, from the stomach. All right, and then it produces, like I said, chyme, and chyme will start to make that a thinner, watery-like substance, and then it's going to get pushed into the small intestines, which is actually a lot larger than in size than the large intestine. That's where most of the absorption takes place in the small intestines. All right, so digestion and absorption take a long time. I think about 10 to 12 hours in that small intestine. So that's where food will stay. And then it will get pushed to the large intestines and now through the rectum and anus as the path of digestion. And next I'm going to talk about is the excretory system. It kind of gets rid of waste and other substances that the body doesn't need. So I'll talk about that one here in a minute here on that. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hopefully you're enjoying your day. We're only about 20 some minutes into this session here. So before I jump into the excretory system, I will then talk about the project and any questions that you may have. So you can ask questions anytime throughout this. Okay, so those that are on and listening, you could ask at any time. Okay, looks like Val and Chris, if you guys are still here, you can still say I'm here, I'm listening. So, or if you have a question, please ask a question there just to kind of help clarify anything that you may need to know. Okay, I'm going to go on to the excretory system if there's no questions at this moment. The excretory system gets rid of wastes and other substances that the body doesn't need. Okay, so that's what that does. All right, there's two types of wastes. All right, two types of waste. The first type of waste are from the digestive system in the form of feces. I call that solid waste. Okay, the next type is called metabolic waste. These are produced by chemical reactions like breathing, respiration, hydrolysis, synthesis, and neutralization, like homeostasis in our body. Water, carbon dioxide, salts, and urea, those are considered as metabolic wastes. All right, so know the difference: solid waste and metabolic waste. Okay. All right, the removal of waste then is divided into a couple more types of ways to remove. Egestion is the removal of digestive waste, and excretion is the removal of metabolic waste, of those two types. Okay. All right. Your skin is one way of excreting waste, and especially metabolic waste. Okay. So when you work out, when you're sweating, right, when your skin, we'll eventually study some parts of the skin. They call that the integumentary system. It allows water and salts to diffuse from the blood, your capillaries, into sweat glands. Okay. So you release sweat from the sweat glands through the sweat ducts and out of your skin, the skin of your pores. So that's why when someone looks sweaty, they're kind of drenched from working out or running out in the playground or in hot weather. That's you excreting your metabolic waste from your body. Okay. All right. Another organ for excreting waste is called the lungs. Okay, and we'll study the lungs when we get into the respiratory system, which will be one of the many systems that we're going to be studying over the weeks to come. All right. Now, the lungs excrete waste products of respiration during exhalation. So when you exhale, so you breathe in, you breathe out. Okay, when you breathe out, you exhale. That's the excretion of waste product of respiration. So carbon dioxide and water vapor would be considered that as an organ of excretion. Okay, and excreting that. Now the liver is another gland or organ. Okay, it's a gland. It's the largest gland. All right, and it is part of digestion. It's part of the digestive, circulatory, and excretory system. So it's part of all three of those types. So it doesn't really have one necessary home for that digestive that body system. It kind of works on all three of those. So it removes excess amino acids from the body, and it breaks down amino acids, which are like proteins, through deamination to form urea, which is excreted in urine. So it helps with the process of breaking down those proteins when you urinate and go to the bathroom that way. Okay, so that's for the process of the liver there. The kidneys are another major part that also help along with the liver and excretion. So the major excretory organ of the body, which removes most of the body's waste, is helped with the kidneys. So that purifies blood by filtering out water, salts, digested food particles, and urea in the form of urine. So urine passes out through the urinary tract. So the kidneys help filter out the water. So that's what is one of the main functions for the excreting waste that way when you urinate. Okay. All right. Now the urinary system is some of the key parts are the kidney. All right, like I just mentioned, their ureter is a tube that transports urine to the urinary bladder. Okay, and urinary bladder is a sac of tissue that has the ability to expand as it fills with urine. So that's the bladder part. And in another area called the urethra, the tube at the bottom of the bladder, where the urine passes out of the body. So it goes out through the urethra. Okay, through the out. Okay. All right, so I think I covered everything I needed to say on the excretory system. Okay, looks like we do have a couple other questions here. Looks like Val, you're still in here, great. Um, we draw the parts of the dice and label them and write what they do. Yes, correct. Okay, you can include that in your travel brochure. Yes, yes, you can draw them out, write them out, label them, what they do. It also say how they go from place to place and what they're seeing. Pretend you're like a tourist on your own vacation. You're going to Disney World, you're going to the beach, you could kind of use that, making it exciting, like you're that piece of food. And you could write it in that third person of being that food going through each one of those organs too when you do the writing part. But also, yeah, if you want to include that picture with the diagram, that'll be great. So yes. So let me know if you can give me a thumbs up or something like that that you are understanding that that's okay to do that. Okay, good. You got that information. Excellent. Great. I'll review some parts right now on the project too, Val. So if you want to listen in on this too, just going to read what I have set up there on the what you see on Microsoft Teams. So I'm just going to kind of read through what you have in front of you there with some of the directions. So your project, the Anatomy Travel Agency has hired you to produce a travel brochure to advertise their luxury tour through the human digestive system. The owner of the agency, Mr. Ferko and Mr. Canalou, has informed you that in order to be paid, you must highlight the trendy spots and exciting adventures of the areas. For insurance consideration, you must also discreetly mention any possible dangers or special precautions that tourists might encounter in visiting the different areas of the digestive system tour. So think about what's some things that could be dangerous, maybe with the stomach mixing with the hydrochloric acid and the bacteria kind of pushing it out. You can make sure like stay away from that area or something like that. Like if you're on a travel vacation, like not to go somewhere. So that could be kind of something that you can include into your project. Your brochure should include the following items: the map of the journey, the diagram of the digestive system, like you're asking about, drawing and labeling it. Yep, that's fine. And a key list of highlights. That just means your main highlights that you're going to be talking about, like the main functions of the digestive system. So the mouth, esophagus, small intestine, large intestine, so on. A description of the sites, the anatomy, and the activities, what happens, okay, in each area. So yes, so then that's what you're explaining what happens in the stomach. What's the stomach do? Where's the function? What's their job there? What is its highlight there? Like you're on vacation, like a travel brochure. And then I included a bunch of vocabulary words. So if you want to use those vocabulary words to look over and study and find the meanings of those words, those are some of the words that can be used in their picture there as well to label them your picture of the digestive system and what goes to where. Okay, or what organs do what and where they're located. Okay. All right. So that is your project along with the brain pop due Friday. So you have a brain pop on the digestive system, 10 questions, and there's a little vocabulary as well. So make sure you do that and this project. So you'll have till Friday to get this in. All right. So like I said, there's no school Friday. Some teachers will be checking it, some may not. But if we're not responding, it's just because we don't have school on Friday. So Don't get upset if someone didn't respond back to you. There. Okay, looks like we got somebody else in here. Veryl. How's Veryl today? Veryl, do you have any questions? Are you enjoying? You having a wonderful day so far? I kind of went over everything on the project already. I went over the key functions of the digestive system. You can go back and listen to any of these recordings from the today and from yesterday. Today was more of a review. I went over a lot of the stuff on Monday, and today I actually went into the excretory system, a couple parts on the excretory system. All right, so looks like we only got Vero and Val that are responding in here right now. So if please ask questions pertaining to science in here. All right, Vero, do you have any questions about the project? All right, I'm going to give you guys, since both of you two are here, I mean, I might not have any questions. You can think of them as I go on. So Val and Vero, I'm going to go through a couple organs right now and see if you remember what they are. You can just type your answer in there on the live chat. So this is the largest gland. It's an accessory organ and helps produce bile, okay, which is that watery green substance. All right. What is that called? It also produces vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. You can write your answer. I'm giving you a little quiz. What organ, it's an accessory organ, produces bile, and it's the largest gland in the body. Okay, and it stores vitamin K, vitamin E, A, and K. What is that called? Just write your answer in your live chat bar there. Val and Veryl, see who has the answer. All right, Veryl got it. The liver, good job. All right, excellent. All right. How about another organ here? Okay, I'm going to go through a couple organs here. So, all right, let's see. Who else put? Oh yeah, not the bladder. Yeah, it's the liver. Okay, it's the liver. Okay. Let me find another one here for you guys. Just going to give you a couple vocab words here. This is a flap of tissue that opens and closes the trachea when you're swallowing. It's near the esophagus. It's not the esophagus. It's a flap of tissue. Does anyone know what that flap of tissue is? Behind your throat. What that flap of tissue is called? The flap is behind the pharynx. It's a flap of tissue before the food gets to the esophagus. What is that called? See if you remember. A flap of tissue that opens and closes. Can close the opening of the trachea. It's your windpipe. Okay. Val or Vero, you want to give it a shot? This one wasn't a major. You don't know? Okay, it's called the epiglottis. Okay. All right, epiglottis was the name here for it. I'll put it up over here. All right, epiglottis is how it was spelled like that. Okay. All right, how about another one here? Let's see who gets this next one here. All right, I'm just going through some of the organs or some of the functions here. Okay. Part of your mouth that is used for cutting, tearing, crushing, and grinding food. That's a pretty easy one. All right. Part of your mouth that's used for cutting, tearing, crushing, and grinding food. What is that called? Part of your mouth that is for cutting, crushing, tearing food. What structure would that be? Okay, molars or teeth. Very good. Excellent. Your teeth. Excellent job. Good job. This is also part of your mouth that produces and secretes saliva into the oral cavity. There's another name for secreting saliva. Do you know what that one was called? Remember, saliva is like your spit. Okay, it's these enzymes. What was this? What was it called? Produce. This produces and secretes saliva into an oral cavity. That means your mouth. Okay, I'll say it again, Veryl. Okay, this produces and secretes saliva into the oral cavity. It actually has the word saliva in it, giving you a clue. If you remember that name. Tongue, that's a good try. They call that the salivary glands. I'll write it over here. All right, the salivary glands. All right, that produces saliva there. All right. All right, let me try another one here with you guys here since you guys are um, partaking in here. All right, and this is good review for you guys. As I'm just reading them to you here. All right. This is an area inside the esophagus. All right, these are walls that contain smooth muscles and contract in waving motions. All right, it was a vocabulary word. It's also on the list of vocabulary words from your assignment for the travel brochure. All right, its walls contain smooth muscles that contract in waving motions. Okay, does anyone know what that is? I'll give you a clue. It starts with the letter P. It says in your esophagus. It's the walls that contain smooth muscles that contract in waving motions. This helps push the food and liquid slower down the esophagus into the stomach. Does anyone know what that's called? It starts with the letter P. It was also in your vocab sheet and on the travel brochure. If you look at the travel brochure that I sent to you on Microsoft Teams, you might be able to find that answer. All right, it contains smooth muscles that contract in wavy motions. Val or Vero? Okay, pepsin, that's a good try. Pepsin was actually the major enzyme in the stomach. That's what that was. It's not pepsin. You want to try it again, Val? Remember, these are muscles that contract, okay, in the esophagus going down. Okay, very good, Val. You got it. Peristalsis is how that's pronounced. Very good. Peristalsis, and that propels food and liquid slowly down the esophagus into the stomach. Very good. So good job in finding that vocab word there. All right, excellent. All right. Does anyone know what the gastric juice in the stomach is called, where food is mixed with? This helps get rid of the bad bacteria. Does anyone know? It's also on that list too. It's a two-letter word. It's a gastric juice. First letter starting with an H, just giving you a clue. All right, this is a gastric juice secreted by the stomach walls, and when it's mixed with food, and it helps get rid of the bacteria. So what do you think that one's called? Acid, very good. It is a type of acid. What is the type of acid called? It has a name for it, but first name. But first, it is a type of acid. What type of acid is that gastric juice in your stomach? It starts with the letter H. A specific type. It's also on that list too, on the Microsoft Teams list. Yes, very good. Good job, Val. All right. All right. Um, It is hydrochloric acid. All right. All right. Good job. All right. Excellent. Um, go through a couple more here before we wrap up. Um, this is the liquid in the stomach that is converted to like a watery substance. What is that called? I don't think that one's on the list. It might be on. No, it's not on that list. I'm not gonna. Actually, that's not a good question because it's not on that list. So that's called chyme. Let me go through another. Let me go through another word. All right, this is the upper part of the small intestines. It's about 10 inches long, and this is where the chyme makes a thin it makes it even thinner and more watery. What is that called? It is the upper part of the small intestines. It's about 10 inches in length. All right, that name is on that list. It starts with the letter D. So I'm giving you a chance to answer that one there. So remember, the small intestines was 20, it's about 20 feet long, all right? And this is the upper part. It's about 10 inches long, and also has this is where chyme is made, and it's thin and watery. So this is where it kind of comes out thin and watery before it's pushed onto the large intestines. What is that upper part of the small intestines called? That's where it connects into from the stomach. It starts with the letter D. We talked about that there. Yes, very good. The duodenum is how you say it, the duodenum. All right. Excellent. Good job. So write that there too. All right, Val, you're doing really good here. So good job for partaking in this. All right, excellent. Um, let me get a couple more questions here. Okay, this is an accessory organ. Remember, accessory organs are not the main organs that stores bile between the mills. Okay, after it's kind of left the liver, which we answered, what area would it go to next where it stores bile? Stores bile. It's on that list as well too. Okay, it's on that list. It stores bile. Okay, it contains bile salts, secretes the bile. All right. Let's see if you answer that one. Yeah, very good. Excellent. All right, gallbladder. Hi, Faith. Hey, Faith is here too. All right, good job. All right, nice job, Bill. All right. Couple more questions here. Faith, do you have any questions about the project since you just joined in? It's due Friday. I know you have plenty of time this week. Remember, there's no school Friday, but the project's due. All right. If you don't have any questions, I'll continue going here with a couple more review questions. Okay. All right. This product here, or this accessory organ, produces a juice that contains enzymes such as amylase and insulin. All right, to the breakdown of carbohydrates and fats. Okay. What is this one called? It produces a juice of enzymes that break down. All right. It's also stated on that vocabulary list. It's an accessory organ, meaning it's when it helps. Okay, you don't have any questions? Okay, that's good, Faith. We're just reviewing some things here. I'm just asking you guys if you want to write an answer in, just kind of giving you a little quiz, see what you remember, what you know. You can just type your answer on the sidebar there. Okay, no, it's not bile. It's a good try there, Val. Okay, that would be the pancreas. The pancreas produces a juice that contains these enzymes that break down carbohydrates and fats. So the answer for that would have been this one here, pancreas, which was all on the um, on that highlight of the worksheet. Okay, that's on Microsoft Teams. All right, any other questions that you guys may have? It's a good job doing a review with you guys there. Any questions about the project? What's due? When it's due? Information on any of these organs that I can help out with? Obviously, the more you can provide, remember you can do it on a sheet of paper, just take a piece of paper. You can take a picture of it and just give it. You can do it on PowerPoint, however makes it easier for you. You could fold it kind of like a foldable. Do it that way, like your travel brochure. Okay, might want to have like digestive system on the front. Open up to the inside here. You might have your picture of the map of the way food goes through your diagram. Like, and on the other side of the page, you might have your write up about your research on it, like you're explaining how food moves through the body, okay? And on the back, you could have other interesting facts that you may have found out about the digestive system, as long as you're hitting the key main parts on here. Do we have to write about all these organs? Well, yeah, just you got to tell me what each one does. Remember on the brochure, it says a description of the sites, meaning the anatomy. Okay, that's what that means, and the activities. What happens in each area? So what happens when you're going to like you're going to like your amusement park? You're gonna go here. You're gonna go there. Give me a description, like you might see on a travel brochure, like, oh, we're gonna go ride the Haunted Mansion at Disney World, so it's gonna be a scary ride. It's something like that. But you don't have to include that. But I'm just saying, like, that might be the small intestine. It might talk about the absorption or how long it is. So you're gonna have to give me some key facts and information on what happens in that area or that organ. Okay. Did I answer your question correctly there? Hope I did. So. Okay, good. All right, I answered that correctly there too. Good. All right. Any other questions in here? Is Faith still here? Looks like Val, you're the only one. Beryl wasn't here. Faith and Chris Morales. We had a few of you guys. Okay, let's see here. Faith, is there a vocal chart where we can get the words for the project? I put them on Microsoft Teams, the vocabulary, the vocab. Is that what you're asking for? The vocab chart? Yeah, they're on. That's on Microsoft Teams. In that thing, I have the following vocabulary. You could use these words to help with your project: digestion, salivary glands, teeth, esophagus, stomach, duodenum, liver, gallbladder. You have to look those up individually, but I included a bunch of them: pancreas, small intestine, villi, large intestines, rectum, mucus, peristalsis, hydrochloric acid, pepsin. All right. All right, so you got that. So it's on Microsoft Teams, that list on with stated with the project. So you'll see a bunch of them listed there. But remember the main organs, okay, or basically the mouth, the pharynx, the esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and then rectum. All right, those are the main ones of the digestive system. Okay, where the food's getting passed through. But these other ones, they're going to help out with they're like accessory organs, so they're going to help out with that too. So yeah, include them. It'll be good to have as many you can get in on the project there. Don't forget to do Brain Pop too. Brain Pop is due on Friday as well. Watch the video. Take the 10-question quiz. There's also some vocabulary words that'll help you with this as well there too. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Hopefully you're enjoying your day. Hopefully you have a chance to go out. Let's see. How do I get the Brain Pop? Okay, Val, you got to go in through Clever. So you got to log in through Clever to get to your Brain Pop. Okay. And then go to the assignment. I assign each class. You should see on the dashboard, there'll be an assignment for that, and it'll say to do the Brain Pop. Okay? So log in through Clever to access the Brain Pop. I know some students had some trouble last week with it, but try. You should be able to get on to doing it. Sometimes the server gets backed up or whatnot, so with a lot of people being on it. Okay? It's just going to be helpful for you to do it. But the main thing is get the project done. The project will be better to get done. I mean, of course, doing both, but I'm looking for both of them, but the project is more your priority right now. Okay? All right. right. Any other questions, comments? Looks like another person joined in here. I have about 5 people in here now. 4 people. Okay, Soraya. Soraya's in here. Soraya, any questions you may have? Or I'm just under 10 minutes remaining in here for today. So if you have any other questions or comments, please ask now for the project. I'm not going to be available back online this week. This is my last day this week on being live. Remember, the project is due Friday, and there's no school Friday, so you have a few days to get this in. So if you have any questions, Soraya, please ask now. You have a chance. Yes, Faith, I did get your plant project. I believe I did have, let me just double check on the plant project. Yes, I did get it, so good job. All right, so I did get your plant project from last week. Chris, or not Chris, this is Soraya. All right, your question is, I don't really still understand the project. We have to write the definitions for each vocab word. You don't have to write you don't just write the definition for each word. When you're describing your project, Soraya, make sure you. I did get your project, your plant project, Soraya. Yes, I got your plant project. Good job, both you and Faith. I got both of them. So nice job for both of you guys. Now, for this project, Soraya, don't just write down a vocabulary word. When you're explaining it as food travels through that site or that area, then explain it. Okay. All right. Explain what it does and what it is. Okay. As food passes through there. Remember, it's like a travel brochure. Like you're going from one destination to another. Okay. All right. You got it. Thumbs up. You want to give me a thumbs up? Is that an okay? Thanks. All right. Okay, Val, let's see. Val, I did get your project as well too. Excellent. All three of you guys on here. Val, Faith, and Soraya. Excellent job. You guys did excellent on your plant project. So good job. All right. I'm glad you guys are taking the time to see what's due and getting your assignments in. So nice job for you guys. You're paying attention and you're doing what's being asked. So nice job, you guys. Good job. All right. Any other questions? All right. So yeah, good job. So project will be due Friday. Travel brochure. Directions are stated on Microsoft Teams, so get that in as soon as you can. Like I said, when there's no school Friday, so teachers probably not going to be checking their emails, so you really have a longer time to do that. So yeah, it's gonna. I would like to see them in by Friday, so make sure you just get it turned in, as soon as you can. You're going to have weekly projects probably just about every week, and a brain pop. So that's kind of how the format that I'm doing it. So as long as you're paying attention on Monday's live session and what our new topic is, and listening for that, have some kind of assignment that kind of goes with it. Okay. All right. Who's in here now? Somebody else is in here before I'm ready to leave. Looks like I want to say that's Alex. Is that Alex Tulix, the Budgie Gamer? All right. Is that you? Hopefully you're doing well, Alex. All right. I think that's you. You have any questions, Alex, about the project? It's due Friday on the um, travel brochure, the digestive system. Okay, got it. Thumbs up. All right, you got it. Excellent. All right, you got the information. Make sure you get that turned in. All right. Looks like we have a couple more minutes here. All right. Anybody else have any questions before I sign off? You may leave anytime unless you have any questions. So there's only about 5 people in here. So Faith, Val, Soraya, thanks for checking in with me. Good job on your last projects because you got them turned in. And the new project will be due Friday. All right. Do you have any more review questions? Nope, that's those are the main ones I went through already with you already there. So good job, Val, for participating on that. You could also, like I said, you could go on Brain Pop, watch the video, take the quiz there. Those are and do the vocab. Those are going to be like a review for you there too, Val. Okay, it's going to be same stuff that we talked about: the liver, the pancreas, the duodenum, the small and large intestines, the mouth, the pharynx, esophagus, some of the main organs or accessory organs with the digestive system. Okay, what's your question, Alex? If it's not project related, hopefully it has something to do with school. Yes, I do know what a budgie is. Yes, it is a parakeet, and I know you are interested in parakeets and birds or parrots. So yes, that's how I knew it was you, because I remember you said you liked parakeets in the beginning of the year. All right, hopefully you're doing well with your budgie at home as well too. All right. All right. Well, looks like we have a few more minutes here, and I'm going to probably be signing off. Um, So hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your week here. Get outside, do something fun. Get out of your parents' hair for a minute and go outside and get some fresh air. Ride a bike, play sport. I see a lot of kids in my neighborhood on scooters and bicycles riding around. So do something fun. If you have a chance to do that, get outside. Oh, he got his flight feathers. Oh, excellent. So that means he's ready to start flying around your house. It sounds like there, unless he's clipped. All right, you're a parakeet or your budgie. Okay. Well, all right. Hope you can too, Val. Hopefully you get outside and get some fresh air. You and Alex and Faith and Soraya and Chris, those people that's checked in on here. Okay, so hopefully there. Yeah, mean to go outside, not fly. Okay, you want to fly. I think we'd all like to fly. Learn to fly, right? All right. All right, guys. Well, you guys have a wonderful week. Remember, projects due Friday. I won't be back online until Monday. Monday is the long day I have. It's 8:30 to 9:30, 1 to 2, and then 5 to 6. And then today is my 8:30 to 9:30 and 1 to 2 days. And then, like I said, projects and assignments are usually due on Friday. Kind of the format that I have, same format to keep it the same. All right. Well, I'm going to wish all you guys a nice weekend and happy holiday or happy Easter to you guys on Sunday as well too. Like I said, get some fresh air. Go spend some time in the sun, sunbasking or sunbathing. You need that vitamin D. Keeps your mental health going, especially in times like this. So get outside when you can. Get that fresh air. All right, guys. Signing off to you over here, Mr. Ferko. So thanks for checking in on Ferko TV and be tuned in for Monday with me. Merry Christmas. Well, it's not Christmas yet. Don't push it that far ahead there, Val. So we'll say Happy Easter and stay safe. Stay at home. So yeah, even though you're staying at home, still get outside if you can, right? All right, try to get outside. All right, guys. Happy Easter and have a wonderful long weekend. All right, have a good day. Bye bye.